Hey, what do you say, weekend warriors? Look at all this snow. What a beautiful day to be outside. It's 25 degrees Fahrenheit outside, but I'm staying nice and warm right next to my offset stick burner here. And I'm gonna be cooking up some barbecue chicken pops. Some people call them chicken lollipops. They're made from actually just the chicken drumstick, one of the least expensive pieces of meat you can buy. I got 10 of them for about $5. And just because I'm using an offset stick burner today, doesn't mean you can't follow along. We're gonna set the smoker to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using cherry wood, but you could use your favorite pellet blend or wood blend for chicken. We're just gonna go at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for a little bit faster of a cook. We're still gonna get good wood flavor. And like I said, any kind of smoker, Weber kettle, whether you got a Pit Boss, a vertical pellet smoker, or a pellet grill, doesn't really matter. Let's just follow those temperatures. Everything else will be the same. And before we get started on the actual recipe, a lot of people want to know more about this smoker. So I'm just going to kind of show how I start this up, kind of the process. Not a lot of talking, just a lot of doing. I'm going to go to that next. If you're not interested in that, I got you covered, and no worries, I'm not offended if you skip. I'm going to have right below this video the chapters, so you could just skip past this next part if you're not interested. But if you are, you're gonna like this. What you see here is a bunch of splits. These are 16 inches long, different widths, but I'm preheating them on top of my griddle plate, not on top of the lid, so that I don't destroy the paint. So what's gonna happen now, these coals are pretty much ready to go. Dump them in here. I'm burning cherry wood today. So I'm gonna use these thinner, kind of lighter pieces to get this going. I just wanna build up a nice coal bed right now. Just wait for these to catch. Shouldn't take but a minute or so. All right, and there we go. So that took about 2 minutes. The reason I've got all the doors open, you saw all that smoke. I don't want that going through the cooking chamber, so we'll just let it come out this side here. Now that this is going, I'm gonna take the rest of these little splits here, and we'll just get them in here. So I'm starting with a relatively small fire, building up the coal bed. That heat is gonna start to preheat those bigger logs above. It's pretty cold out here today, about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're gonna need a little bit of help. This is not kiln dried, so there's a big difference in flavor that I've found anyways. And you can see maybe some of that water content coming out. I'm gonna let this burn down. I'll come back when I'm ready to throw the bigger logs on, and then we'll get this cook started. All right, so now we're ready. Got a nice coal bed started. The smoker's up to 250 right now, Fahrenheit. We're cooking today around 300. Just gonna kind of consolidate these coals a little bit. Start building this up. Just gonna go across now. And I think now by the time we get done prepping the chicken, this will be right where I want it. Then we can fine tune it. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this. And I am gonna close the damper halfway. And let's get to the chicken. And here's our chicken today. So these are the drumsticks. And you'll notice I've pulled a lot off the bone here. I'm gonna show you how to do that in just 1 second. I went ahead and did all but one of them. So what I like to do is I'll come in, good sharp knife, and I'm gonna come in about 1.5 inches or so, 2 inches from the end of the leg, and I'm gonna cut through. There's some tendons here that you're gonna cut through, but we're gonna go all the way around first, just like this. And then I'm gonna take the tip of my knife and cut through the tendons that I didn't get on that first pass. I think this is the easiest way to do it. I've seen some other videos where people just cut the whole end off. I'm gonna keep them on. And then what I'll do is either grab just a dish rag or a paper towel, and you're gonna grab this end. There's a hard piece of this right here on this end. You'll know where it is because that's where the thickest tendon is. Just grab that hard piece, pull back, and just kind of twist it and pull it off. So that's the first part done. Then what you're gonna do, grab your paper towel, grab the meat with the paper towel hand, this one with the other hand, and you're gonna pull it down into that little lollipop shape. And when you get down there, you're gonna notice there's a little bone attached. Mine actually came off in the meat. We're gonna cut that out. So I've got a nice little pair of scissors here I like to use. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab hold of it, and it cuts right out. And I'm gonna do that same thing with these tendons. So on one hand, I'll grab a tendon or a bunch of them with my paper towel. And then I'm gonna come in with my scissors and I'm gonna cut off some of that meat just so we get as much of that tendon as possible. See that? There's a couple more that fell out. And then you got all these little guys. So just come in here, clean them up. You're not really gonna get all of them unless you spend a lot of time. We just wanna get the majority of those cut out of here. And then once you've got them all pretty much out and you're happy with it, just go ahead and squish that down as much as you can. And then I like to take the skin and cover as much of this as possible. You're gonna go ahead and season them with your favorite rub. And we need a way for that rub to stick. So what I'll do, just to make life easy, a little bit of spray butter. You could use anything you want, really. Mustard. A little bit of neutral oil. So go ahead, get these sprayed. And we're not too worried about the overall appearance because we're gonna be dunking these in a barbecue sauce later. And that's also where most of our flavor is gonna come from. And what I'm gonna use is just some everyday rub, a little salt, pepper, garlic. Keep this part simple. And we'll let our sauce do the rest. I'm using a Korean barbecue. It's a honey gochujang sauce. One of the best honey barbecue sauces I've ever tasted in my life. I'll show that to you guys a little bit later. But right now we're just gonna get these on the smoker. And if you remember, I said we're going about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. If I take a look here, this is an analog temperature dial. It's almost right to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fine. That's right where we want to be. One cool thing you can do with these, if you don't know this, I learned this from Aaron Franklin in his master class. But if I tap on this, you'll see that needle move one way or the other. If it moves back, that means the heat is dying down. Time to put a log on. If it's moving forward, that means the heat is still building from the fire. So let's knock on this and see what happens. So it moved a little bit forward towards 300 degrees, which is great. I want that to be ramping up so that when I open this door and we lose all that heat, we're gonna ramp back up even quicker. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this door open. We'll move quickly. Down here, just like in my pellet smoker, I've got a water pan. In fact, I have 2 of them in here. That is just to help stabilize the temperatures a little bit. Get this open. And I'm just gonna lay them down just like that. And we're just gonna let these go for probably about an hour and a half. We want to get an internal temperature of about 175 degrees Fahrenheit before I dip them in the sauce. So we got that. Push this back in. Get the door closed. And my job now is just to keep this fire going. Let's get it back up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll probably have to throw in a log. It's usually about every 35 to 40 minutes to keep it going. So I'm gonna do that. We'll be back in about an hour and a half to check on these, and then we'll move on to the next step. And you know what? We're about a half hour into this cook, still rocking steady at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I did forget to show you one optional thing that I'm sure you're probably aware of. If you want, and I do, because I want to take a good thumbnail picture, wrap the bones. See how they're already getting brown? Just wrap them in some foil to protect them. This has nothing to do with the flavor, just appearance. So I'm gonna get in here real quick, wrap these guys up. It smells awesome in here. See those juices dripping. So that's what I'm gonna do here. Wrap them up. And it's been about an hour and 15 minutes, and our little chicken pops are doing good. They just hit 175 degrees Fahrenheit on the internal. So now we're ready for the next move. This is that barbecue sauce that I was talking about. I found this at my grocery store. I'm hoping you can find it there too. If not, I'll put a link below. This is really, really good stuff. So what I want to do is pour this into a cup, and we're gonna dip each of these pops into the sauce. And this way we won't have to use a brush or anything like that. Let's get this open. And I want to move as quick as I can so that I don't let all the heat out of the smoker. That's how we're looking here. Nice, nice, nice color. Smells awesome. And now we dip. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we'll get off any excess. And we're just gonna finish these off in the smoker for about 5 to 10 minutes. Get this guy back on there. And I'm just gonna move on down the line. Here's our next one. Wow, That's gonna be a treat right there. Drip off the excess. And there we have it. An hour and a half approximately to put this together. These things look awesome. Get a look here. Beautiful color. That sauce took on some extra smoke those last couple minutes. These things are cooked to perfection. I'm gonna call these Korean barbecue chicken pops. Let me get a bite of this guy. Cooked perfectly. Again, that sauce, you just cannot beat that. I am really digging those flavors, and that chicken is cooked perfect. Huge, huge fan of this. And hey, if you guys are a fan of this, hit that subscribe button and definitely check out one of those 2 videos right there. And I'll see you over there. If I stay out here any longer, these are going to be chicken popsicles.